Werner was actually asked after the game in terms of his own performance. He said, look, I'm very happy to be back. It's a very fun place to play in this league. I enjoyed it very much to be out there. We got 1 point, but more really, it's the training and getting to the guys. I think I can even get better. I'm very excited. From what I've seen from the coaches and the players, it is incredible here. They included me straight away. I'm looking forward to playing in our stadium in 2 weeks. That will be very, very exciting. Pat, overall, quick summary of Timo Werner. What did you make of him today?
Like I said when we signed him, after thinking about it, I thought it was an exciting signing. I'm happy to have him in the squad, and he's going to add value to our squad. And he did that exactly that today on his debut. I thought Gary Neville was a bit harsh when he took a shot and obviously he skewed it and scuffed. He fluffed his lines. But you've got to remember the guy's hardly played this season. So the fact that he's hardly played and he came in a big away game and played like that, credit to him. When we signed him or when we, activated the loan, I said, is he better than Brian Gill? Is he better than Dane Scarlett? Is he better than Valise? The answer is yes. And you saw that today. And, other fans sniggering and laughing. I feel that we're going to have the last laugh because he's definitely going to contribute and add goals and assists to our front line.
I think I'm right in saying this, Patrick. I think what I read is that Timo Werner has played 14 minutes of first-team football in the last
Crazy
4 minutes in 4 months. Sorry to interrupt you, mate, but I mean,
I know, and he was fit, he was active, he was pressing, he was getting involved, and yeah, he came off with a GA. And going back to this Chelsea appearances, 89 games, 23 goals, 21 assists. At Leipzig, 213 games, 113 goals, 47 assists. The guy has got goals and assists in his repertoire, and he showed that today. So yeah, of course, every player is going to have their faults. We know his finishing can improve and should improve. He's 27 now. Let's give him a chance. And I saw people writing him off before he'd even kicked a ball, and I think that's crazy. So I was impressed with his performance, Ricky. Like, you can't ask for more than that in your debut in a tough game. It doesn't get tougher than Man United away, especially for Spurs. Like, it's a tough game for us, man. That's a horrible ground. We never really get anything there. We did that, and he was a key part of that result or that performance. So credit to him. I like what I saw, and long may it continue. Great stopgap for Son, and he's come in and already showed that he is going to contribute and add value to our team.
Imagine if that was Brian Hill. So if we've got no Timo Werner, yeah, exactly. I mean, Patrick nearly fell off his chair. For all those who are listening, not watching. I mean, the mentioning of Brian Hill possibly playing in that position. I mean, it's literally it's literally laughable. And also, just speaking of a player like Brian Hill, if you're bringing in Timo Werner, who's had 2 training sessions and played 14 minutes in 4 months, then Brian Hill, you're not right for Spurs. So I know people saying, "Oh, don't send him on another loan. Just send him anyway. Get him off the wage bill for now. Send him anyway so he can get some minutes." Because we're bringing in somebody in, who has more rust on him than the Angel of the North, and he's still come in and done a better job for us than squad players that we have right now. So I think you've really got to take your hat off to the guy. Again, just speaking of those levels of scrutiny, he's a 27-year-old. Yes, okay, so he's not a child, but when he came to Chelsea on an enormous price tag, he was so young and he was belittled and humiliated from straight on. And again, just listening to Patrick list his stats, is that really quite so bad? Did he really deserve that torrent of abuse? So he's coming back to the Premier League for a team that's kind of knocking on the door of the title. And Ange, again, eloquently said, until we're out of it, we're in it. And of course, this is mathematics. This is nothing to do with subjectivity or brand loyalty, or I could never say that Tottenham could win the league. It's just maths, and maths don't care about any kind of emotion. And so I was really pleased for him. And I'm so pleased as well that he got himself on the stats sheet, an assist, in your first game. Of course, if he tucked that goal away, and, could he have done better? Yes. He put it wide. Okay, give the guy a break. He's come in for us and done a great job. So I was delighted for him. And again, to Richard's point, it's an absolute no-brainer. This is such an enormous business, players being sold literally for hundreds of millions of pounds. So to bring somebody in on a loan for 6 months, and then if he works out, you can get him for 16 million quid. I mean, goodness me, isn't that how much we paid for Bentancur? Didn't we get him for 16 million quid? And Rice was 100. So that for me is really sound business, and I was delighted for the boy.
Really interesting words, I do feel, from Peter Schmeichel, actually, that after the game was asked for his opinion on it. I believe he was covering the game for one of the outside broadcasters and said, look, if Son Heung-min and Kulusevski had been playing today, they would have absolutely torn Manchester United apart, which I feel really, really interesting. You know, that's a Man United legend there, Peter Schmeichel. That's been fairly to him, you know, honest and, you know, eloquent in that view. So, TJ, where do you stand overall, TJ, in terms of, look, I think we come away, listen, I think we can't argue with the performance. We may be upset about the result, not getting more than a draw. Give me your thoughts in terms of what it is now going to be for Spurs. Couple of weeks break. Thoughts on Brennan as we look to close. How excited are you as well, TJ, for that Man City game? It's arguably, I think, for many, one of the biggest games of the season. We're all buzzing for it, right? How big that game's going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, so to answer all of those questions, I mean, first of all, I just want to say as well, it's my first time on the show with Pat, and I've really loved being on the show with you, man. Such an even-tempered, really knowledgeable gentleman. And to that note, Patrick imploring our fans just to give people some time and some space. And again, just adding great wisdom, all of these legends of our past who were really struggling, and they were given a little bit of a time and given a little bit of a cuddle by the right manager, and were turned into extraordinary players, exceptional players. No one's going to argue that we don't have, I would say, the most exceptional manager in world football right now in Ange Postecoglou. So if anyone's going to do a job on any of these boys that need a bit of a cuddle, it's going to be Ange. Also, just to the point that we do live in the world of social media. So a lot of that negativity, if there's too much of it, will get back to these boys. We bear a burden of responsibility as fans, especially if you're saying things publicly on forums, not to be too critical or too insulting with one's appraisal of a player's performance. I know that as athletes, we demand perfection from them, but remember that they're human beings, and we do have a responsibility to try to get the best out of them. So put an arm around them rather than just shooting them down. That's number one. Okay, so number two, with Schmeichel's appraisal, absolutely right. And of course, he's a pragmatist and he's a level-headed individual. He played in, you know, arguably one of the best teams that Europe ever produced, you know, when he was at Manchester United. And he's absolutely right. We made them look very silly today. Crackers was talking about it earlier, how the atmosphere in the ground, like the fans didn't really know when to cheer. Well, for me, that's because this Manchester United team are a team of moments. There's no impetus. There's no rhythm or flow to how they play. There's no identity. There's no character to this team. They have a couple of individuals who can, in a flash, in a moment, produce something magical. So how can you possibly cheer for that? It's like, you know, you're just looking at a sort of simmering pot, and every now and again, you know, something like a big bubble or something will happen that you can cheer about. They've got one or two players who can make something happen, but past that, they're a bang average team. And so, listen, would I have liked 3 points today? Yes. Did we deserve 3 points? Yes. But we were a counter-attacking team for many, many years. So maybe we've got a dose of our own medicine today, and that's football and that's life. And so with regards to the Man City game, I cannot wait for that game. We are a bogey team for them. We're at home. If we win that, I think we go on and win the bloody thing. So I can't wait. Lovely being on the show. Lovely to see you guys. Thank you so much.